Welcome back to the Tiger Solar Power Podcast, your weekly source for the latest news, insights, and opportunities in South Australia's solar industry. I'm glad you're tuning in because this week's episode is packed with stories that show just how quickly our state is moving toward a renewable future. Whether you're in Adelaide or anywhere across the state, we're here to help you understand what's happening in the solar world and how you can take advantage of it at home. Let's get into it. One of the biggest headlines this week is about a huge battery project that's just been given the green light. Potentia Energy's Emeroo Battery Energy Storage System, or BESS, has received approval under South Australia's new Hydrogen and Renewable Energy Act. Now, this isn't just any battery. It's a massive 900 megawatt-hour system built right next to the Bundey Solar Farm, which is already the largest solar farm in the state. What makes this special is that the project is the very first to go through the new streamlined approval process. The idea behind the law is to speed up renewable energy development and cut through the red tape. And this approval shows it's working. Why does a big battery like this matter? Well, think about how solar works. During the middle of the day, we sometimes generate more power than we can use, and without storage, a lot of that energy gets wasted. A battery of this scale means that extra solar can be captured and stored, then dispatched later when demand peaks or when the sun goes down. In simple terms, it makes renewables more reliable and helps us move closer to that target of 100% renewables by 2027. And the pattern isn't just happening at the big end of town. We're seeing the same logic play out in households across the state. Adding a battery to your solar system lets you do on a smaller scale exactly what the Emeroo project will do on a massive one: store daytime solar for evening use. It's the same principle, just in your backyard instead of a paddock outside Port Augusta. While that battery is making headlines, South Australia has also hit another milestone. For several days straight in late August, wind and solar combined to supply 100% of the state's electricity demand. That's right. Every single unit of electricity used in South Australia for multiple days came entirely from renewable sources. Rooftop solar was a big part of that story, especially during the middle of the day when so many homes were exporting power back to the grid. And the grid handled it. No blackouts, no interruptions, just clean power flowing from wind, solar, and storage. It's worth pausing on that point because one of the biggest myths we still hear about renewables is that they're unreliable or can't be counted on. South Australia is proving that wrong in real time. Not only are we covering our own needs with wind and solar, we're setting world records for how often and how smoothly we can run on them. Of course, making this all possible requires the right infrastructure. That's why the early completion of the Bundey Substation is such a big deal. Bundey is part of Project Energy Connect, the major transmission line linking South Australia with New South Wales. This isn't just a local upgrade, it's actually the largest substation in the Southern Hemisphere. By finishing it ahead of schedule, SA can now export more of its surplus solar power to the east and at the same time reduce the risk of having to switch off rooftop systems during times of oversupply. To put it simply, Bundey is like a bigger highway for electricity. With more lanes open, more solar energy can move where it's needed instead of getting stuck in traffic. And that makes rooftop systems even more valuable because there's less chance of your exports being limited by the grid. It also strengthens the argument for pairing solar with a battery, since every kilowatt you keep for yourself is one less you need to worry about exporting. And speaking of batteries, South Australian households are continuing to jump on board in record numbers. The state's home battery rebate scheme is closing in on 9,000 applications. That's a huge level of interest, and it shows just how much momentum there is in combining rooftop solar with storage. The surge really took off after July when installations reached new highs thanks to falling battery prices and strong incentives. Even with debates about whether some people are stacking rebates from multiple programs, the overall trend is clear. More and more South Australians are choosing to add storage to their homes. What does that look like in real terms? Well, thousands of families across the state are now avoiding peak tariffs, reducing their bills, and adding blackout protection with their batteries. And for many, the rebates have knocked thousands of dollars off the upfront cost, making the investment even more attractive. Nationally, rooftop solar is reshaping the energy mix, but it's South Australia that continues to lead the way in adoption per household. It really is becoming normal here to have both solar and a battery. It's not the exception anymore. Now, while we're talking about what's happening locally, there's some exciting news for those who care about homegrown technology. Adelaide-based Tindo Solar has just unveiled its newest series of panels, called the Walara G4P. This is actually their 9th generation of rooftop modules, manufactured right here in South Australia. These panels are designed for high efficiency and built for our conditions, and the fact that they're produced locally adds an extra layer of value. In a time when a lot of solar hardware is imported, being able to support local jobs and Australian-made tech is a real plus. Tindo has been manufacturing panels at Mawson Lakes for years, and they've built a reputation for quality. By rolling out their 9th generation product, they're showing that local manufacturing can keep pace with global technology. For homeowners, it means there's an option to put truly local panels on your roof, panels designed and built for the unique demands of our climate. So when you put all these stories together, the massive Emeroo battery approval, days of South Australia running on nothing but wind and solar, the completion of the Bundey Substation, thousands of households applying for battery rebates, and a local company like Tindo launching its next generation of panels, you can see the bigger picture. South Australia isn't just talking about renewables. We're living it, building it, and leading the world in showing how it can be done. And for you as a homeowner, this isn't just interesting news, it's an opportunity. Every one of these developments points to the same message. Solar and storage are here. They're proven, and they're the key to lower bills and greater independence. By installing panels and adding a battery, you're not only saving money, you're part of the reason South Australia is hitting these global milestones. That's it for this week's Roundup. Thanks for tuning in to Episode 3 of the Tiger Solar Power Podcast, From Big Batteries to Rooftop Wins. We'll be back next week with more updates, insights, and ways you can get involved in South Australia's renewable journey. Until then, stay sunny, South Australia.